what I'm up to. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah, so what I'll take a survey maybe once people joining, I'll ask you some few questions. But before that, let me ask you some simple things. Mm, just write in the chat box. And as I said, this is a webinar, so you may not be able to see each other, but I can see all of you. See means at least I know that who has joined in. So what we would do is in the chat box, if you can write, have you got, do you have a little bit brief introductory session? Have you attended any session before on any Lean Six Sigma? So yes or no, just write it. And accordingly, I will proceed. So Shefali says no. Ashik says yes. Gold says no. Amritpal knows. Sal is telling no. Yeah. So I think I will assume no. So what I will do is I'll start from ground zero. I'll assume that you don't know anything about Lean and Six Sigma. Okay, that's fine. So in that case, I will talk about what is Lean and Six Sigma in a little bit more detail, maybe first 15, 20 minutes. So first 10 minutes, I will be, as I'm waiting for the people, I would introduce myself. I'll keep it a little longer so that people keep joining in. And after I introduce myself for maybe 5 to 10 minutes about our work, then we'll proceed with the basics of Lean and Six Sigma. And then after that, after half an hour or so, we'll learn about DMAC, Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. And then after that, in fact, the best way of learning any tool and technique is to apply them simultaneously. So we'll learn some tools and we'll apply them. If you are okay with a little bit of statistics, then I will even teach you some basic statistics, and not even basic, a little bit advanced statistics also, which is very much useful as you do improvement projects in the industries. So I will do that as well. And after that, of course, if some time permits, I will talk more about some lean topics, and also I'll show you some case studies. So once again, welcome. So let me introduce you to the organization and myself, and let me start with a formal welcome. So here, these are the formal welcome message.
Hi, welcome to Anexas. Anexas has been consulting and training the professionals in the organizations around the world since 2006, and we have trained more than 150,000 people and consulted for more than 500 organizations, which includes Fortune 100 organizations too. I'm Amitabh Saxena, and I have designed this program based on my 30 years of experience while working in various industries across many domains. The whole Anexas team once again joins me in welcoming you.
So a team of around 30 people is supporting me as we do this program, and on behalf of everyone, I'd like to welcome you. We've been around for around 19 years, and almost all continents and almost more than 100 countries around the world, and physically as well as online, we have conducted the training programs. I'm a chemical engineer, and in the first 10 years, I used to be very hardworking. I'm still hardworking, but I was not working smart, I would say. One fine day, my organization told, I was working in a petrochemical company. So my company told that one of the, some of the best, the performers would be given an opportunity to attend a black belt training. And that was somewhere in 1998. So I thought I'm one of those top 10, and the 10 people were supposed to be nominated. Unfortunately, the company did not think so, and I was not nominated. But then I took a little bit of efforts on my own, and it traveled. Those days, very few organizations used to conduct this training program. So I attended a program in Paris. I traveled there. And anyway, I did some projects for the organization along with the other 10 people. And along with those 10 people, plus my project, really saved a lot of dollars for the organizations. As Lean and Six Sigma, you do projects. So later on, I thought this is a little there's much interest to me. It's more interesting than my operations job. And then I totally switched to a full-time job of black belt and master black belt. And then I started consulting the organization. I left the organization and I started consulting. I joined some of the organizations like EXA, KPMG. I set up the Six Sigma practice and worked with EXA in Bristol, in the UK, in France, and also in some of the conferences in Toronto. I presented some case studies where people got interested, and then they all started offering me some assignments. So I thought that was the right time for me to jump into this full time, and I became a consultant. And then we totally, a team of 3-4 people, we established in Europe and Copenhagen. And then after that, we have been consulting for lots of organizations. Personally, I have guided more than 1,000 projects in multiple domains: manufacturing, services, healthcare, etc. Appeared on a lot of TV shows also. I see a lot of people are from India as well, or they are from Indian origin. So you may recognize some of the videos which I may be sharing. So some of the programs around the world, last 25 years, I have been conducting the training program. Although the organization is 19-year-old, but like 28 years, I have been conducting the training programs. Since 1998, in fact, I'm passionate about this around the world. Lots of awards, attendees, conferences, TV shows, etc. So that was about.
I'm Shekhar Suman, and I wish to congratulate all the Six Sigma certified black belt from Anexas.
So that was Z Business Show, Gulf News, and then lots of Middle East TV shows also have appeared. On 21st of May 2019, I'm going to speak in American Society. I have been speaking, in fact, not 8 times or 10 times, because this is old slide, last year's slide. This year again included, last year if you include, I've been a 2 times key speaker and 8 times a speaker in the conference in American Society of Quality. And every time I present different case studies from different domains. This time I presented from healthcare. Last time it was from oil and gas. Before that it was from bank. If you and Indian Railways, American Railways, and also Saudi Railways, they are all of friends. It's an honor. And anyway, lots of videos are there. Lots of Indian newspapers, Gulf newspapers, and English, Hindi, Urdu. I've been contributing a lot. And that's what about that was about me. I hope you are not convinced that I'm the right person to teach you. Now I see some more people have joined in, so welcome everyone. And it's a pleasure to have all of you here. And I was just introducing myself and waiting for you as well. So let us look at what is Six Sigma and what are Lean and Six Sigma benefits. So can you tell me, can you find the similarities here? What do you think is common here? A manufacturing company improves production by 30%. A hospital reduces discharge time of patients from 3 years to 15 minutes. 64% reduction in recruitment time in a multinational company. Hotel improves customer experience and increases bookings to almost 2 times. A bank reduces errors and cycle times by 80% with enhanced customer satisfaction, and insurance claims time reduced by 70%. So what do you think is common? So I see Gold telling that it's all about process improvement, which is right. Yeah, absolutely right. Dhananjay is also telling improvement, and Abby is telling growth and improvement, waste reduction too. Oh, so you know a little bit about waste as well. So all have used Lean and Six Sigma and data analysis to achieve breakthrough improvements, and all of them are Six Sigma projects. So if you ask me what is Lean and Six Sigma in just one sentence, if you allow only one sentence, so I would say that Lean and Six Sigma is a project approach towards process improvement. Project approach towards process improvement. These were our clients, which were I have done multiple. Those who have joined late, I've consulted for hundreds of clients, all big names, Fortune 100 companies. Yeah. And yeah, and also I did not tell you I am a permanent resident of Australia, but I am hardly in Australia. I'm never seen in Australia most of the time. I end up traveling in Europe or Middle East most of the time, and sometimes to US for my clients. So most of my clients are there. Okay. So Lean and Six Sigma can reduce the costs, reduce the defects, reduce the waste, reduce the rework, reduce the cycle time. It improves their quality, production efficiency, productivity, customer satisfaction, capacity, profitability, resilience. And which CEO would not love a person who can do all these things? It's like a magic, sounds like a magic, but that's what Lean and Six Sigma is all about. Lean and Six Sigma green belts and black belts are trained professionals who are capable of doing improvement projects. So I told you what was Lean and Six Sigma in my view. It was in one sentence, I defined Lean and Six Sigma as project approach towards process improvement. Now let me define what is a project and what is a process. Process is something which is repetitive in nature. It keeps happening again and again. Like going to office is a process. And can you tell me, if you can just tell me which industry you belong? Okay, well, let me take a poll. If I can just take a poll, like now a lot of people have joined in. If you can tell me which industry you belong to, so accordingly, I will take the examples. So I have healthcare here, finance also. Yeah, if you can just. We have manufacturing as well. Okay. Yeah, so I have got people from manufacturing and healthcare and banking. Okay. But most of the people are from manufacturing. I see this. So I'll try to take examples from manufacturing. And next question, if you can answer this question. Okay. So people are from IT as well. Okay. IT, quality, and supply chain as well. Okay, great. Okay. And so I will maybe to satisfy the healthcare participants, I will take when I'm teaching you, let's say seven wastes, I will take example of healthcare, and when I'm teaching you about the normal distribution, average, standard deviation, control limits, etc., I will take example of a manufacturing industry. I think that will balance, and all the things are applicable to banking. Yeah, so so everyone will be satisfied. Next question, please. Okay, so no, this is just to tell you that our courses are not very costly. Okay, and our certification is valid throughout the world. You can also appear for an exam of your choice. So if you want, you can appear for the exam to which country you belong to. You can write the name of the countries you are from right now where you are attending. So if you can write in the names, I will also answer your questions accordingly. So you can write the names here in the chat box, the city names from where you're attending. So we have people from Canada, India, Singapore, Bangladesh. Okay, you are right now in you're in Canada, right? So Sydney. Okay, Sydney. Wow. Okay, Sai is from Sal is from Sydney. Great. Oh, this must be okay afternoon for you. So for some it is evening, and for some it is afternoon. Okay. Amritpal is from Canada, and also Eduardo is from Canada. Abby, Canada. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. And just to okay, so we'll be learning lots of stuff today. Now I have got an idea what type of examples I will be taking. Now let us start. First, let us understand, or let me explain to you what is the difference between process and. So I'm starting in the beginning. Those who joined late, in the beginning, I asked a question, and many people said that they don't know much about Lean Six Sigma. They're starting afresh. So I'm starting from ground zero. So I'm assuming that you don't know anything about uh, you know Lean and Six Sigma. So let me start from ground zero. So before I start, let me give you a model of an organization. Let me talk about, let me create a model of any organization in the world. Okay? Any organization in the world. Now think about your organization also. It will fit into your organization as well. Now, every organization is involved in producing an output. And either it's a product or a service. So there's an output. Okay. An output which is either a product or a service. Either a product or a service. There is no other third kind of output. Yeah. Sometimes we can say capability to produce an output is also an output, but still it is again ends up either producing a product or a service. Now, how this output is produced? It is produced using a series of process steps. So there is a series of process steps, you can say, which converts certain inputs. So there are certain inputs like raw material. If you're working in a manufacturing company, it's a raw material, raw materials, people, the skills, the standard operating procedures, all these things. They are inputs, and they are processed through a series of process steps. Through a series of process steps. So I've got department A, department B, department C, department D, producing an output. So process is anything which is repetitive in nature. Repetitive, it keeps on repeating. Like you will keep on doing this today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and you'll keep on producing your output. So if you're a hospital, your output is a treatment, patient treatment. If you're a manufacturer of, I saw a manufacturer of, someone had mentioned, I forgot, what did you mention? It was quite some time back. Active pharmaceutical ingredients. Dhananjay told me that. So where is your manufacturing utility, Dhananjay? So active pharmaceutical ingredients. So it could be anything. So you are producing this output through a series of process steps. So you have got certain inputs producing an output through a series of steps, and this process is repeated again and again. This is known as a process. Now this output is consumed by a customer. Okay, this output is consumed by a customer. You have a customer. And of course, these suppliers are supplying the suppliers are supplying the inputs. Yeah. And actually, this what suppliers and customers are denoted with a factory symbol, like it's like a factory, right? I'm trying to make it that way, but I hope I'm succeeding. So the customers and suppliers, they are related through the strategy or planning department. And so what happens is customers give their feedback. Customers give their feedback, and also you can predict the demand of your products and services. So you have a feedback from the customers about your products and services, and also you can predict the demand, or sometimes customers provide you, like they say that I need this much of product or service. Based on that, your strategy or planning team asks the suppliers to provide the inputs, along with telling the departments and different process steps to make appropriate changes in the processes so that you are able to satisfy the customer. So ultimate objective is to satisfy the customer. Now, customer is not interested in your product or service. Customer is not interested in your product or service. Customer is interested in the value which they are getting from your product or service. So, for example, if you are producing a car is your product. Customer is not interested in your car, but customer is interested in the value they're getting from the car. The value could be ability to get transported from one place to another place comfortably or with speed, or whatever it could be, but it depends on which car you're talking about. You're talking about Ferrari, maybe values, pride, speed, etc. But finally, it boils down to the value. So customer is interested in the value. So this, you are ultimately creating some value for the customer. Okay. I'm being slow in the beginning because I'll complicate the matters slowly. Okay, so don't worry. Those who are having a little bit of initial information about Lean and Six Sigma, just half an hour I'll spend and giving you some basic fundamentals. So just have a little patience. And those who are totally new, please understand by the end of 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you will understand a lot about Lean and Six Sigma. You will be a little bit. And now, see, towards the last 1 hour, I'll increase the speed because I would have covered a lot of fundamental concepts and I would have built a very, very good foundation on which I can talk about advanced statistics. So be careful and listen to me carefully. And if you don't understand anything, please ask questions in the chat box. Okay, great. By the way, those who are joining from Australia, I am from Melbourne. I'm staying in Melbourne. Okay, so this is known as, and any guesses? Anyone can identify this diagram? Very popular diagram, very, very popular. And now those who are totally new, they should be knowing. See, try to memorize all these jargons. When you're in the meetings, you can talk about it. So do you know what this diagram is about? It was first designed by Dr. Deming. Dr. Deming, Edward Deming. He was an American who went to Japan and he transformed the quality world of Japan. In fact, Japan was known for their bad quality products and services in 1950s, early 1950s. And he was responsible for totally transforming the products and services of Japanese industries. And today, highest quality award in Japan is known as Deming's Prize. And he told that this is a systems map. He called this as a systems map, but the new and more popular name today for this map is, I'll tell you why he called it a systems map also, but more popular name today is value stream map, VSM, commonly known as VSM. You'll often hear these master black belts and black belts talk about VSM. Let us do a value stream map. Let us start with the value stream map. And that's where our journey begins. Now, why we start with the value stream map? Whatever is your problem, whichever industry you belong to, whichever department you belong to, you should always start with the value stream map. That's what it's told. And we'll see as a yellow belt and a green belt. We'll look at a journey of a green belt when we learn the yellow belt tools and techniques. See, yellow belt is a person who doesn't have to do any project. He has to just assess the green belts and black belts. But when you are asked to assess the green belt and black belt, you should know about their journey, what exactly green belt and black belts are about. So today, I'll take you through the journey of a green belt. You have to just watch. You don't have to participate in that. Don't have to do any calculations. Don't have to do any work with me. You have to just observe. But when you join my green belt or black belt session, we do this project together. So today, we'll be doing a project. Now, I told you, again, going back to the beginning, I told you Lean and Six Sigma is project approach towards process improvement. Okay. So now let us understand what is a project. Project is a one-time endeavor. One-time endeavor means it happens just once in the history of the world. It had never happened before and it will never occur again. Project is one-time endeavor, means it has a starting point and it has an end point. So what you do is, you do improvement project in your process. So suppose you are manufacturing a product, and the product, there's weight variation. Okay, weight should be between, let's say you are manufacturing chocolates, and your chocolate weight should be, let's say, 100 grams, and you should not be beyond, let's say, 103 grams, and you should not be below 97 grams. But you have a lot of weight variation, then that's a problem. So how to reduce the weight variation? You will do a project. Okay. Or rejection rate of my chocolates, or defective chocolates I'm producing, percentage defective chocolates I'm producing is 5%. So then in that case, I will take up a project. 5% wasted or defective product or chocolates, I would reduce to 3% in the next 6 months. So a project has a starting point, it has an end point, beginning and end. So today we start with the project of reducing my defective rates of my chocolates from 5% to 3% by the end of, let's say, December 2024. That becomes a project. It could be also in, let's say, healthcare or hospital. My waiting time of the patients on an average is 30 minutes. I would reduce this 30 minutes to maybe 15 minutes by the end of this year, or 31st December 2024. So this becomes a project. Okay. Now, how to link the two? So first of all, any questions up to here? I hope you understood. Also, let me add as well that value stream mapping can be done not only for any organization, but also for a department, also for an individual. Also, as an individual, also you can create a value stream map. As an individual, you are involved in multiple processes. You are producing lots of outputs. You have many customers. Customers. Your boss is a customer. Your family members are the customer. Your friends are the customers, and you are involved in producing multiple outputs through series of processes, right? So you have a series of processes which are producing your outputs, which are satisfying or providing value to your customers. Then you have your brain, which is the strategy or planning department. And then based on the feedback you receive from your customers, you get your supplies from the suppliers, get your inputs. One of the inputs is this training. Okay, so because you want to satisfy your customers, your family members, or yourself, that I want a salary raise. I want to increase my salary. For that, I need certification. So I'm the supplier, and inputs are this training which you are attending right now. So as an individual, also you can create a systems map or a value stream map. Now, what is the purpose of creating this value stream map? Because Edward Deming, Dr. Edward Deming, he told this in 1950s, and it is definitely true today as well. The problems are not in your people. Problems are not in the people if there are defects, delays, errors, mistakes, high costs. People are not to be blamed for that. Processes and systems are to be blamed for that. So 85% of the problems are not due to the people, but due to the processes and systems. And 15% is definitely contributed by the people, but it's just 15%. This is what Edward Deming said. That means if I need to improve, something in my organization, what I need to do, I have to change my processes. And that is why all the tools and techniques in Lean and Six Sigma are focused on the processes. Now, see, value is an abstract term. Value, I want to get value. No, what value can be described. But one more thing is there. You cannot improve if you cannot measure. You cannot improve if you cannot measure. So for that, you have to measure your products. Now, how do you capture the value? See, first you capture the voice of customer. You ask the customer, Mr. Customer, what do you need? Let's say you are running a coffee shop, let's say. You'll ask the customer that, what do you need? They will say, I want hot coffee. I want cleanliness. I want maybe taste, etc., whatever. You'll collect the voices of customers and you will convert into measures. Measures. Like hot coffee, the measure could be the temperature, degrees Celsius, temperature of your coffee. I want taste rating 1 to 10. Or I want speedy service, quick delivery. So I want, say, serving time. Yeah, I'm not writing it. Yeah, so quick delivery. If you're fine. Yeah, quick. I wanted to write quick delivery there. Quickly, I wanted to write that. So quick delivery, serving time. And let me tell you, for all the products and services of the world, 3 measures are always there. And we in Six Sigma, we call this as CPQ, critical to quality measures. Critical to quality measures, CTQ. The 3 measures are always there. Which are these? One is time. Second is cost. Third is errors, defects, mistakes, errors, mistakes, whatever you call it. So these 3 measures are always associated with all products or services of any industry. Plus, apart from that, there would be many. I'm not saying these are the only ones. So in coffee, you have temperature of the coffee. That is also a measure. In your chocolate example, weight of the chocolate. In your hospital example, it could be infection rate, mortality rate, etc. There could be many measures. There could be multiple, maybe 5 measures, 10 measures, also called as KPIs. I'm not going into the details. In our green belt and black belt, we tell you how to develop KPIs, the whole process of developing the KPIs. We teach you. But right now, let us keep it short and sweet. So we have to have a measure. So you cannot improve if you cannot measure. You cannot improve if you cannot measure. So you have to measure. And then you have to see, are you satisfying the customer or not? So every measure will have a specification limit. Specification limit. Specification limit is also known as SL. Remember that SL. I hope you are with me. I'm still keeping it simple. So, but now things will get complicated. So be aware, be attentive, and ask questions at any point of time. If you have any questions, please ask questions. So specification limit, SL, okay? And then later on, I'll be just talking about LSL, lower specification limit and upper specification limit. Okay. So, like for example, hot coffee. Hot coffee could be the temperature should be more than 85 degrees Celsius. I'm just taking an example. Okay, I really don't know what should be the ideal temperature of the coffee, but I'm just taking some. It should be more than 85 degrees Celsius. Okay. Or it could be like between maybe 70. So I have got a lower specification limit, 70 degrees Celsius, and maybe 90 degrees Celsius. So then in that case, I've got two-sided limit, LSL and USL. Okay. If it's just one-sided, then it is only lower specification limit. Means it should be not lower than 85 degrees Celsius. Similarly, the delivery time, serving time should be less than, let's say, 15 minutes. Okay, so these are known as specification limits. And these measures, along with specifications limits, are also known as KPIs, OKRs, and all these different names are there, depending on which country you are from. But these are common terms. So customers, see, voice of customer gets translated into specification limits. And this is what the customer wants. Customer may not have told you that I want coffee more than 85 degrees Celsius. He may not have told you, but he would have told you. His voice is that, well, I want hot coffee. I want quick service. But you have to identify these specifications. Okay. And these things are done by black belts and some other department. You don't have to really worry about that. But now, when you are not performing well in any measure, suppose you are delaying your coffees, or your chocolate weight is varying, or your patients are unhappy with your waiting time, or banking, you go to the bank and keep on waiting, then these measures are having issues, and there you choose the project. And there you choose a project. Okay, my average delivery time of my coffee is 25 minutes. Well, it will be too high, but let's say 20 minutes. And I would like to reduce it to 10 minutes by December 2024. And this becomes a project. So you are taking up improvement projects in your processes. Project in your process. The one sentence description of what is Lean Six Sigma. Lean and Six Sigma is a methodology to improve your processes using projects so that you are able to satisfy the customer and also make money for your organization. Because if the customers are happy, you'll make money. Ultimately, you need money, right? The organization need money, and that's what you're going to say. So every project saves money. Every project saves money, dollars. So by the end of the project, you have to also tell how much money we saved for the organization. Typically, every project saves around $100,000 to $200,000, sometimes $1 million, $5 million. I've done multiple projects, saved sometimes, oil and gas industries, every project saves, 50 to $60 million, sometimes even $1 billion. We did a project in Aramco in Middle East, the biggest oil company, and we saved. I have put this project in our Anexas channel. You can subscribe to my channel, Anexas. It's an organizational channel, Anexas, and there I have put all the projects from manufacturing, healthcare. We also, those who are from healthcare, they can see some of the very good projects being presented on last July 26th July, I think. If you're in my LinkedIn live, there are 5 or 6 projects from hospital or healthcare being presented by the people who were trained by me and who did the projects. Actually, they did the project in their respective hospitals. So then before that, last year, I think in December, in my LinkedIn again live, 7 manufacturing projects, brilliantly done manufacturing projects were presented. So you can always have a look at these projects, and these you can subscribe to the channel as well. You can also learn. Those who are from India, I have also done a training in Hindi as well. There also I have described. And we also have training in Arabic, and I don't see any person from uh, Middle East countries, but we have a training in Arabic as well. So, the multiple languages we can do training programs. Cost benefit, yes. Edward was telling about cost. Yes, cost benefit. Yes, value. What? Okay, so this was a brief introductory part before we proceed. Now, let me tell you. Now, let me go to the slides. Now, you'll be able to understand the things in a better way. Now, one more thing, okay, before it will make my job easier when I go to the slides. One more thing. See, the customer is always interested in the value. And that is why this is known as value stream mapping. How the value is created through a series. This is a stream of value. Your suppliers are supplying the inputs that I increase that a little bit of value through each step. A adds little value, B adds little value, C also adds value. And then finally output is created, which is valuable to the customer. It is consumed by the customer, but then they provide you feedback, which again is of value to us. These demand and feedback being processed, planning is also adding some value, and then suppliers, by supplying the inputs, are adding the value. So the value is created, value stream mapping. Now, one more thing, if the value is created continuously without any interruption, that means customer is happy. But if there are interruptions, so let me tell you, let me give an example. Suppose A takes 10 minutes to complete, B takes 10 minutes, C takes 10 minutes, D takes 10 minutes. And the customer arrival rate or the demand is also 10 minutes, means I'm not using jargons here. Actually, it is known as takt time, but because I'll not be able to explain takt time, so I'm using simple words, right? Takt time is the arrival rate of the customer. You can say at which rate I should produce to satisfy the customer. So, so 10 minutes, every 10 minutes, I'm getting this. Means every 1 hour, I'm having 6 customers. Or in one day, if I work for 8 hours, I have 48 customers. Okay, that is the demand. So 10 minutes, if I produce, I'll be able to satisfy the customer. Customer would not have to wait. So if I place A is 10 minutes, B 10 minutes. So can you imagine there will be a continuous flow? A does its job, then B does its job, and C does its job, D does its job, and then customer gets the output. But what happens if C is taking 20 minutes? Then you will see that there is a constraint. There is a constraint here. There is an obstruction there. You will see a queue, waiting, work in process inventory. So units are waiting to be processed. Okay. There's a queue. There's an inventory. All these are known as waste. Waiting, inventory, and customer will also have to wait. If you remember, D has to wait, and customer also will have to wait. So you have to produce a continuous flow in the system. So flow is one of the basic concepts of lean. Similarly, lean talks about a lot of wastes. And the Six Sigma talks about variation. And both of them together talk about process excellence. And that is what we teach in Lean and Six Sigma as a green belt and a black belt. So apart from that, there are other wastes also. Let me describe. I will not be able to describe or give you the basic principles of all the waste, the way I gave it for, let's say here, waiting or inventory. But let us talk about, let us now jump to the slides. So I was talking about projects. I was talking project. Now, every project, whichever project you take up, has some phases. Lean and Six Sigma process has got these phases: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. 5 phases. Now, if you claim that you are a yellow belt, after 2 hours, you'll be claiming. that you should definitely know about the simple, the DMAC. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. So whenever you want to improve anything, whenever you take up an improvement project, you use DMAC. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. DMAC. Now, when you are applying DMAC, there are certain tools and techniques followed, and I'll be talking about all these tools and techniques. I'll give you a series of steps. Some of them I will show you the application also, and we will do a project. We'll together do a project. Now, when we are doing a project, because as a yellow belt, you are not supposed to know all the tools and techniques, but I will take you through these tools and techniques. Now, at least you will get a basic understanding of tools and techniques. And once you're a green belt, you can actually do the project. You can even, do all the data analysis and idea generation and implementing the solution also. Now, let us look at what is lean and what is Six Sigma separately for some time. Although in DMAC, they are all integrated. Okay, but let us, sometimes people do have this question, what is lean, what is Six Sigma? Lean is about mapping the process and identifying the waste in the process and reducing these wastes as much as possible. And also, there is one technique called mistake proofing, poka-yoke. Poka-yoke means, in Japanese, means foolproofing. Even a foolish person cannot commit a mistake. Design a process such that even if you want to commit a mistake, you cannot commit a mistake. There is no mistake proofing. Poka-yoke. P-O-K-A-Y-O-K-E. Poka-yoke. So using that, try to foolproof your process, mistake-proof your process. That is what about lean in short. So lean also talks about other ways like overproduction, waiting, transportation. They are listed here. Overproduction, waiting, transportation, overprocessing, inventory, rework, rejections, underutilized resources. These are all wastes present in our system. And Six Sigma is about reducing the variation. So I was talking about the chocolate weight. So if you imagine there's a chocolate, the specification limit of the weight is 100 plus minus 3 grams. Lower specification limit is 97 grams, and upper specification limit is 103 grams. Yeah. And if you are producing all chocolates between 97 to 103 grams, means you are satisfying your customers. But if you are going beyond 103 grams, you are not satisfying your customer. Remember, the shareholders of the company are also your customers. So they don't like you to give more chocolates to your customers. And similarly, your consumers, the users of the chocolate, they also don't like you to provide less than 97 grams. So again, they are dissatisfied. So if you are, ideally, if you're giving between 97 grams to 103 grams, then customers are happy. But if you're going beyond that, customers are not happy. Okay. So that means you are producing defects. So you reduce the defects by reducing the variation, and we'll see that. We'll see examples of both. So this was a very brief introduction of what is lean and what is Six Sigma. Six Sigma is about reducing the variation. Lean is about reducing the waste. And both of them will definitely save a lot of money. How? Let us see. But let us give me examples. Let me give me some example. So I promised you that I'll take a little bit of healthcare example, also because people from healthcare are there, and then remaining, and I will switch on to manufacturing examples. And while I'm doing so, please understand, whatever I'm telling about lean is equally applicable to manufacturing, banking, IT, logistics, supply chain, everywhere. It is, it's not because I'm giving example from one industry doesn't mean that, it's only applicable there. Every tool is applicable to all the industries. So think about that. Okay, very quickly, because I'll not take much time, because sorry for the healthcare guys, you're in minority today. So I will just quickly, although it was not in the agenda, but I saw some of you are from healthcare. So let me jump and give you some little example of healthcare. some waste in health, so that healthcare guys should be happy. They're important for us, right? So for everyone. So very quickly, I'll tell you. See, when you are talking about lean, okay, let me ask you: how many of you know about lean already? I can even fast forward. If you already know about lean, just say yes or no. In case if I see, because some of the basic things everyone is aware of. So if you are already aware of this part, okay, so I see 2 no's already. Okay, 3. Okay, let me cover this. Let me cover this. Okay, great. So lean, we identify the waste. We typically have 8 wastes. And there are many acronyms for that. One is I, swim, to, to remember this. All another is Tim Woods. If you rearrange those wastes a little bit differently, you will get Tim Woods: transportation, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, and skills. So, or there is another one, another acronym also, downtime. Whatever you like, you can use it. But the 8 wastes are: waste of intelligence, means you have intelligent people hired and you are not using them. Okay. People are giving ideas, but you are not utilizing them. 20-30% of your intelligent mind is wasted in writing routine emails or attending some meeting which you are not supposed to attend, or you should not have attended. These are waste of intelligence present in our organization. Then scrap, rework, defects in a product. Everyone understands what's that. It's a waste. You are wasting the company's time and resources and money in producing a defect, which is of course a waste. Waiting time. See, anything starting with before I go to waiting, anything starting with rework, rewrite, revise, redo is waste. You should do it right the first time. So there are 3 criteria to satisfy a process step as a value-added step. If it is done right the first time, if the customer is willing to pay for it, and if it is not, and if it is converting the input and bringing it closer to the output, in that case, that step is a value-added step. Otherwise, that step is a non-value-added step or a waste. In Japanese, we call waste as muda, M-U-D-A, muda. This one is identifying muda, pronounced as muda, written as muda, but I will go with the Japanese pronunciation, muda. Motion, any unnecessary motion. Inventory. For identifying the motion, you make spaghetti diagrams. Let's say a workplace, see the motion of people from where they're traveling most of the time. And if you see a lot of people are traveling from between these 2 places, these are your workstations, let's say. So you will bring these 2 things together, two places together and close to each other, so that it will reduce your waste of motion. Transportation, which the customer is not ready to pay or willing to pay for. Then overproduction, overprocessing, all these are wastes. Some examples I will just take, because I'll quickly do this. This I did for one of the hospitals in Beijing, and a lot of hospitals I've consulted: Singapore, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Australia, and National Healthcare Service in UK. I've done many projects there. So this is a typical process. Now you identify which is waste and which is value added. So walking is a waste. Registration is a waste. Now you will say, why registration is waste? See, whatever the customer is not willing to pay for, if it isn't. See, first you have to identify the value. What is the value? Here, I want to get a blood test done. What is the value for me as a patient? I want to know the status of my health. That is the value. Now you are telling me walk to the OPD, non-value added, it's waste. Registering is not, she's not telling me about my health status. So many of the steps are wastes. You have to do, I'm not saying stop registering, but this is their current process. Change the process so that the registration is not required. So the companies which are focusing on value, they are innovative companies. And those who are only process focused on the process steps, they are not so innovative. Okay, so please understand that you have to identify value and provide value from customers' perspective. Okay, let me also talk about, 85%, 80% of the nurses' calls are housekeeping in nature. Means, my pillow cover is dirty, my bed sheet is dirty, etc. The nurse is there to give you the medicine and take care of you. But if you're wasting her intelligence, his or her intelligence, for just asking some thing which is not supposed to be done by her or him, then in that case, it's a waste of intelligence of the nurse. Then I will also, there are some case studies, but let me not focus too much about uh, that because we have got limited time. But in many of the cases, many hospitals, we have doubled the cardiology lab capacity from 8 to 16, reduced the diagnostic exam time from 2000 minutes to 64 minutes, cut the admission from 17 minutes to 5 minutes, and reduce the, see, lot of signatures, approvals, every process I'm talking about, not only in healthcare. Approval is a waste. Approval is not adding any value. What is that approver doing? What is the criteria he or she is applying? You can apply, you can integrate that in the process itself. So you don't have to have 30, 40, 50 steps. Then 4 of them or 5 of them are just approvals. It's of no use, it's waste. Okay, so unnecessary process motion, unnecessary waiting, unnecessary transport errors. A person who's underutilized is a waste. Any equipment which is not utilized is a waste. Unnecessary, when let's say cost of a 5-minute MD walk is a waste, or walk to elevator 1 minute, elevator wait 3 minutes, elevator travel 1 minute, walk to lab or pharmacy 1 minute, nurse cost per hour $50, cost of one trip $5, cost of 5 trips per day per nurse is $25, and then cost of elevator per day per nurse is $12, multiplied by 200 nurses in a large hospital, multiplied by 365 days, you can imagine few millions of dollars is just wasted in front of the elevator. And this is the kind of research or the analysis we have to do when we are talking about Lean and Six Sigma. Well, I'll just, still lots of other examples are there, but let's talk about Pokayoke. I was talking about Pokayoke, like mistake proofing. Pokayoke is a Japanese concept where you design. It was given by Shijo Shingo, Dr. Shijo Shingo, who did not want any errors or mistakes. So he designed his processes so that he said, my employees will not be able to commit a mistake. So it's not always possible, but he was quite successful, and that concept came to be known as Pokayoke. So let me take an example. So you cannot, you set your machine such that maximum, they can't go beyond maximum levels. That is an example of Pokayoke. Then let's say, even by mistake, you cannot enter a wrong value in a particular system. That is about Pokayoke. I'm trying to talk about in general terms, not related to healthcare only. It could be applied to your production. Beyond this, the pressure vessel, pressure will not increase. You have a pressure safety valve or temperature control valves, etc., or instruments. So in that case, these are all examples of Pokayoke. You cannot connect oxygen to nitrogen cylinders because the connections are done such, like created in such way or manufactured. The manufacturer of nitrogen oxygen cylinders, their connectors are totally different. So even if you want, you cannot connect to each other, and otherwise it will lead to disaster. So this was just examples of some of the lean concepts using healthcare example. Now let us go back to our explanation of the variation, and I'll take example here of from manufacturing. And before that, let me also, because as we enter into the world of statistics, I'll also tell you what do you mean by yellow belts, green belts, black belts, and master black belts? So the organizations were very serious in to implement process excellence in their companies. They create an infrastructure of Six Sigma. So when you have an infrastructure of Six Sigma, you have got people trained as yellow belts, green belts, black belts, and master black belts. Yellow belt is a very, very brief introductory program, usually of 4 hours, 5 hours. You can say one day. Now, because I'm going to teach you a lot of concepts in a short time, and because of my experience, I'm able to do that. Otherwise, these lot of jargons you have learned now, value stream map, CTQ, critical to quality characteristic, VOC, voice of customer, specification limit, lower specification limit, upper specification limits. It takes a little time to teach all these things. And now we are going to learn more also, by the way. Still a lot of time is there. So because of, you can say, let me appreciate myself a little bit, because I have been into this for the last 34 years. I'm able to explain all these things to you in such a short time, but typically yellow belt is a one-day training program. Then you have green belt. Now, I conduct 3 days of green belt program. Usually it is 4 to 5 days. But as I said, along with this, you also get, whenever you join my sessions, so for this session also, you will be getting the recording. So you can watch this recording any number of times. Plus, you'll also get lot of tools and techniques and explanations in simple terms, my recordings only, so that you can watch them any number of times. And also you'll get an access to the application, which is Anexas app. You can download Anexas app and get your certificate from that as well. And you can log into the website also. I'll tell you how to get your certificate after a while, but at least a little early to talk all these things, because still we have got time left for the training. So, but to getting a yellow belt certificate is not difficult. No. A green belt, you have to actually learn the tools and techniques, and also we do a project together in the classroom. Usually I do online sessions, unless you are happy to invite me to your place and I can conduct a session, but nowadays people prefer online sessions. So, but I do conduct training programs in different geographies. Like we have, there's a program coming up in Jeddah next week. After that, in Melbourne in November. Then there is in January. There's in London. So that keeps happening, but the costs are very high for that. And I'm happy if you would like to join those sessions. My team will be happy to provide you that fee. But online sessions, the costs are less, and the certificates are valid throughout the world. So we are all accredited to different. We were following all the simple, all the well-known, you can say, certifying bodies, book of knowledge, and you can appear for any exam. By the end of our session, you will be appearing, because Anexas Europe AEC certification is what you will be getting, which is again valid. Then we are affiliated to CSSC and ISSC, and we are following ASQ's syllabus. So if you want to if you want to spend more money, you can always appear for these exams also, and get your certification of your choice. But again, to repeat, our certifications are valid in all countries. Green belts, you attend a 3-day training program, and you know tools and techniques. You are able to apply tool and technique, and you do a project with me. Actually, you have to do a real project. But if in absence of a real project, we provide you the data, and then in the classroom itself, we do a project together. In black belt, again, you have 3 days more of learning, and you also know some advanced tools and techniques, hypothesis tests, etc., design of experiments, etc. And then you are able to do bigger projects. You are able to do projects cutting across locations, geographies, or cross-functional projects you can do. Green belts typically are limited to a particular department or a particular process, and usually you work on one measure, one CTQ. Like either you are reducing your delivery time, or you are reducing your cost, or you're reducing your, let's say, errors. But black belts can, tackle multiple CTQs. And naturally, they are able to save more money. So green belts typically save $50,000 to $100,000. Black belts typically save more than $250,000 because they are able to apply advanced tools and they are able to solve complex problems. And master black belts are those who train green belts and black belts, who guide green belts and black belts. And we are one of the few companies in the world uh, who also conduct the master black belt training. So master black belt is around 4 days of training where you can become an officially capable of consulting an organization. You can train people, you can train others. A lot of people who have done master black belts from us, they are successful consultants. A lot of them are our competitors also. Now we are happy. That's okay. So a lot of master black belts are there. In Canada itself, and in Australia, in Middle East, in Europe, lot of they have got a very good name as well. So these master black belts can walk into an organization confidently and say that I can improve your organization. I can improve your processes. Again, they would do through those green belts and black belts, whom they would train, and these green belts and black belts will do the projects. Okay, so this is how the whole structure is about. And there are two more roles. Let me also talk about it, although the slide is going to come a little later. Champions or sponsors. So every project has to have a sponsor. It's like head of the department. He says yes. Like for example, and if I take my chocolate example, the production manager of the chocolate company where we are producing the chocolates, he would be the sponsor, production head, or vice president of the production or operations would be the sponsor. He allows you to do a project, and the process owner, one more role is that process owner is the person who actually who is responsible for that particular process. So the person who's the engineer or the supervisor who is in charge of the chocolate production of that particular stream or the line of that particular product where I'm interested in improving is known as the process owner. So he owns the process, and the sponsor is the head of the department. So the sponsor and the process owners are also involved in the whole scheme of things in Six Sigma, but they are not to be trained. They're just to be identified. This is he's my process owner, he's my sponsor. That's it. But as a green belt or black belt, you have to learn tools and techniques. So these are the certifications available to anyone who wants to learn these tools and techniques. Okay, great. Now let me do the project. Let us do a project. Let us learn about Lean and Six Sigma. And when we go to the measure phase, I'll talk about the Six Sigma, the variation, etc. So now let us imagine that one organization, and let us keep it simple. One organization wants to reduce the recruitment cycle time of their employees. So they will apply DMAC. So as we apply DMAC, we learn some tools like SciPOC, Project Charter, types of data. In the measure phase, we learn types of data, what is normal distribution, what is variation, what are control charts. Then we'll also understand, again, I'm telling you, we'll have a brief understanding of all these tools and techniques. What is a cause and effect diagram, fishbone diagram, Pareto analysis, box plots and scatter plots, a little bit of overview I'll be giving to you. And I'll be showing you how it is done in a statistical software. That will be more for demonstration purpose. But when you come to my green belt or black belt training program, I'll teach you together. I'll give you the software also. So improve is about brainstorming, and control is about some of the things. I've already talked about Pokayoke. And if time permits, I'll talk about fibers. Otherwise, I'll give you the videos. I'll also give you some video links. I'll give you some video links as well, which you can see whenever you have time. So let us jump to the project. Now let's start. an organization tells you that our recruitment cycle time of our employees is too high, and I would like to reduce it. So you will apply DMAC, define, measure, analyze, improve, control. Let's start with the define phase. Define phase, you do a SIPOC first, process approach. So problems are not in the people, problems are in the processes. So let us focus on the processes. And to focus on the process, we have a tool called SIPOC. So let me go back to what I showed you in the beginning. So if I just borrow S for supplier, I for inputs, P for process, O for outputs, and C for customers, that gives me SIPOC, SIPOC. So what I'll do, I'll start with a SIPOC. And also, as I have already explained this, whenever you're doing a project, you have to have a team. Yeah. So you have to identify who are my green belts. So that team of Shashi and Rajiv, they are the green belts. And then we have got master black belt. Who's the master black belt? I was the master black belt here. Process owner is the recruitment manager, and the sponsor of the champion is the HR director. And the process which I'm trying to improve is recruitment process. So I'll start with the SIPOC, supplier input, process, output, and customer of my recruitment process. So typically when I do a SIPOC, I start with customers. Always better to start with the customers. So identify your customers. Here the departments are your customers. Output is the recruited employee. And the process, you just write down the brief process steps here. And what are the inputs like IT system, job description, CVs, budget, HR staff, travel documents? These are our inputs. And who are the suppliers of these inputs? You can always write it. So this makes our SIPOC. Now we have a process approach. We don't blame the people. We are not blaming the recruitment team for all the delays now. Otherwise, if we keep blaming the people, recruitment team will blame the operations. You never respond to our queries. Or the operations team says, well, you give me all the wrong CVs, unrelated CVs. They keep blaming each other, and obviously the recruitment gets delayed. So here we are blaming the processes. So first, let me tell you also one more thing. Outputs. Now we are interested, remember outputs, we have some measures. And anyone remembers these measures are known as CTQ. We also designate these measures as Y. The letter Y. And similarly, we have measures of processes and measures of inputs as well. Okay, measures, processes, and measures of inputs as well. We call these measures as X factors. These are the factors and these are the X measures. Let me give an example. Output measure. Output is a recruited employee. Output measure is recruitment time. Another measure could be actual fit of that employee. How that recruited employee is actually fitting that new role or not. Or you can say error in recruitment could be one of the output measures. What could be a process measure? Time taken to interview the shortlisted candidate, time taken to develop the mobilization plan, time taken to receive and shortlist the resumes. Or input measure could be job description availability. It is correctly done or not done. CVs are available or not available. Budget. How much is the budget? These are our input measures. So I hope you understood what are input measures and what are process measures and what are output measures. Input measures and process measures both are called as X factors. Both input measures and output measures are called as X factors. I hope up to here you are with me. Any questions? So we have made our SIPOC and we have got our approach. Now let us, okay, let me show you the charter also first. So here we are looking at the process charter, project charter. So project charter, whenever you are making a project charter, you generally write your problem statement and a goal statement. Problem statement here is that it is taking 50 days, and goal statement is that I would like to reduce this 50 days to 30 days. So here, if I'm able to do that, you can see that there is a saving. I'll be able to bill my clients. If I recruit my engineers faster, I'll be able to bill my clients. And I'll say in a year, if I'm able to reduce it by 20 days, 20 days of billing of 20 engineers is going to give me some good money. So that's $300. Then we collect voice of customers and convert it to a measure. Okay. And we have chosen the measure of recruitment time. Now let us go to the measure phase. Measure phase, we collect the data and we express our data in graphs and charts. And let us see, and sigma level also. See, in yellow belt, we don't have to learn about sigma levels. Although just a very brief overview, I'll still give it to you. But there's a whole process of calculating the sigma level. If you are interested, I'll give you the link. But for the time being, we'll talk about the data, how to measure everything, and how to represent the data using graphical tools. Now, if I ask you, when we talk about data, generally there are three responses. Some people say, I don't collect the data, or I don't want to give you the data. Maybe I'm afraid that you would use my data and reveal my inefficiencies to the whole world. Maybe I don't want to give the data. Or some people say, I have too much of data, but I don't know what to do with that. Or sometimes people say, oh, yeah, analysis is too complicated and I'm not a stats person. I don't like data or dealing with the data. Now, all the three excuses are gone now because of recent developments. So first, let us understand how to measure. I told you that you cannot measure if you can, you cannot improve if you cannot measure. Now, let me ask you, can you measure everything? If you can tell me, can you measure everything? Okay. What is your opinion? Can you measure everything? Some people are saying no. Okay. So let me tell you how to measure everything. Yeah. So there are three rules, in fact. One is you cannot improve if you cannot measure. And second rule is you can measure everything. Third rule is if you think something cannot be measured, go back to rule number 2. That means you can measure everything. So let me tell you how to measure everything. There are two types of data, continuous data and attribute data. Continuous data is something which can be represented on a number line. Number line means it has got from minus infinity to plus infinity, any number is possible. 0, 1, -1, 5.326, even decimal places, that is also possible. So there is a possibility of a decimal place and there is a unit, always. That is an identity of a continuous data. Continuous data means anything which you can represent on a number line. Not necessarily as a number only. See, number, you can represent attribute data also as a number. We'll come to that. But then decimal point is not possible in attribute data. It's difficult for to get you cannot represent, like, for example, let's take an example of attribute data. Attribute data is gender, male and female. Categorical data. It's also known as categorical data. So you have a count there, either 20 males. You cannot have 20.1 males. What I'll do, let me show you a video. Hi, I'm
improve if you cannot measure. And the second rule is everything can be measured. And the third rule is if you think something cannot be measured, then go back to rule number 2. Well, jokes apart, the third rule can be if you think something cannot be measured, then probably it is attribute data. Now let me tell you, how can you measure anything? There are two types of data, continuous data and attribute data. Continuous data can be represented on a number line. It can have a decimal place. It can also have a unit. Say, for example, age, height. Age is 52.5 years. That's my age. Height, maybe 180.1 centimeters. Cycle time of a process, 3.5 hours. Or procurement time in an organization, 120.3 days. These are all continuous data because they all have a possibility of a decimal, means they can be expressed in decimal points, and also they all have a unit. Now let us talk about attribute data. Attribute data can be expressed in categories, and categories can be counted. Say, for example, if you want to measure happiness, so easiest way to measure any attribute data is to create a category, and if possible you can create a binary category. A presence or absence of that attribute can be one of the simplest categories. So if I take the example of happiness, two categories I can create: happy, unhappy. So if I want to increase the happiness in the employees in the organization, then I can always count how many employees are happy. Let's say 60 employees are happy and 40 employees are unhappy. I can express this as proportion. That means proportion of happy employees in my organization is 0.6 and proportion of unhappy employees is 0.4. And it can also be expressed as percentage. Now this proportion or percentage, they don't have a unit. And a count, like 60 employees, I can't have 60.1 employees who are happy. So the count will not have any decimal point. So this is what continuous data and attribute data is. It is very important to know the difference between continuous and attribute data. And it is very important to understand what is continuous data and what is attribute data, because the tools which you are going to use in the measure and analyze phases, they depend on what type of data you are dealing with. If you are dealing with continuous data, then you might use histograms. If you are dealing with attribute data, you may use pie chart or Pareto charts or bar charts. If you are dealing with...
So I'll talk about this a little bit and explain this a little bit. Okay, so here, whenever we are measuring, as I told you already, here data types, continuous and attribute. First of all, are you convinced that you can measure everything now? If you want, I'll give some more examples. So here, my recruitment time is something which is continuous data, right? And attribute data could be like job descriptions availability. Now, if you remember in our project example, job description is one of the attribute. So attribute is job description. Categories which we have created was, category is available, not available. And then account. In our company, I checked maybe 10 job descriptions, and 10 people at random, 8 or let's say, let me do it reverse. 2 were available and 8 were not. Oh, it's a problem. And then let's say here I can measure this proportion. Proportion means 0.2 and 0.8. Total is 1. Proportion means actually, portion out of 1. Like if the circle is 1, so the 0.8 belongs to not available and 0.2 belongs to available. And it's also sometimes used as percentage also, 20% and 80%. So although it is percent, but still it remains as attribute. Please remember that. Because again, if you consider the circle as 100, then 80 belongs to not available and 20 belongs to available. When I'm displaying the continuous data, the tool, the graph which I'll use is histogram. Histogram means a frequency chart. So what I'll do, I'll collect some samples of recruitment done by our team in the last 6 to 8 months. And if I collect 20, 30 samples, that's enough for me to give whole or to make a judgment about the large population. So 30 to 40 samples. Whenever I'm dealing with continuous data, 30 samples is good enough. 30 to 50 samples are good enough. And when I'm dealing with attribute data, 1,100 samples are too good. Even 200 is also okay. 200 to 1,100. Now they are coming from some statistical calculations, which I describe in my black belt training program. Right now, I'll not be describing that, but there's a scientific basis of getting these numbers. But for the time being, it is enough to understand that 30 sample will give you enough information about your whole population. Population could be in thousands or millions or billions. In Greenbelt session, I do this exercise. Typically, my batch size is around 20 people. So I take the heights of all the 20 people and calculate the average and standard deviation. And based on that, we are able to predict the heights of all the people in the world. Now, how? Let me tell you that as well. See, when I collect the data of recruitment time, I'll find that most of the recruitment are taking, let's say they are taking 50 days. My average time was 50 days, so they are taking 50 days. But sometimes some of them are taking between 50 to 55 days also. Some of them are taking between 55 to 60 days also. And some of them are taking between up to 65 days also. Similarly, you find, and this is typical nature of almost all processes, all repetitive processes. Whenever you are observing any repetitive process, you'll always find, whenever you are observing any repetitive process, you'll always find that they would be they'll be following this type of distribution. So this distribution was first discovered by Mr. Gauss, Carl Friedrich Gauss. I think he had a lot of time. In 17th and 18th century, he studied multiple processes. And after, let's say, 10 years of study, And there were no calculators and computers those days. You have to remember that. So after a long study, he found that most of the processes, in fact, almost all the processes, repetitive processes we are talking about, they followed normal distribution. He called them as normal distribution because it is normal to obtain a normal distribution. It's natural, normal to obtain a normal distribution. Probability distribution, that's as we call it. And he said that every process, as every repetitive process, will have an average, and it will also have one more parameter, which we call it as standard deviation. Okay. And it can be easily calculated. Nowadays, you can calculate standard deviation using Excel sheet or even Minitab. I'll be using Minitab right now because as a green belt, or all green belts and black belts, they use Minitab. And when you join my session as a green belt or black belt, I'll be training you. I'll be giving you the software, and also I'll be training you as well. I'll be giving you a full version of software, although a trial version you can download from minitab.com. That is also available. But I'll be giving you the full version. So when you are joining the sessions, we'll do a project using Minitab. All the analysis will be done using Minitab. But for the time being, I'm teaching you the theory. So that is why I'm writing on the whiteboard. And what Carl Friedrich Gauss found, that there's an average. Average is denoted by X bar. Okay, X bar. And standard deviation is denoted by the Greek letter sigma. Looks like this. So he found that every process has got that average and the standard deviation. And 99%, now that was an interesting thing, 99.73% of the total population, and I'm talking about the population, I'm not talking about the sample, I'm talking about the population. So 99.73% of the total population is lying within plus minus 3 times standard deviation. Okay, so this is X bar. This is 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation. This is minus 1 standard deviation, minus 2 standard deviation, minus 3 standard deviation. Now, some of you might be interested in knowing how to calculate standard deviation. Don't worry. I have a video for that. If you have time later on, you can watch that. I have not only given you the formula for standard deviation, I have even derived the formula. It will be very interesting. Those who are statistically oriented, they would love this video, right? As a yellow belt, I don't want to go into too much of details of the calculations part, but those who are interested, in my green belt session, I definitely cover that. But if you don't want to join my green belt session, but still want to learn about standard deviation, you can always watch this video, and you will learn how and where this formula is coming from. Now, for the time being, as a yellow belt, understand that easily you can get your standard deviation. How easy it is, let me show you. So if I see, this is the data. This is the real data, which the project which I'm showing you is the real project, right? So 15 samples were collected of the recruitments done over the last 6 months. And we tell Minitab, please give me some basic summary, statistical summary. So it will tell you, it will make a histogram. It will tell you mean average is 50. Standard deviation is around 5. Okay. So a lot of other parameters, which in Greenbelt we discuss all of them, but for the time being, average and standard deviation is good enough. So I can get my average and standard deviation, and I can now predict about all the recruitments done in this company by using Gaussian theorem. So this one is Gaussian theorem, plus minus 3 times standard deviation. Okay. Okay. So this is 50. average is 50, and standard deviation is 5. So what I will do, the one time standard deviation will be 55, 50 plus 5, right? 5 is the standard deviation. 2 times standard deviation would be 60. Now let me ask you, I hope you are with me or I have lost you. Plus 3 times standard deviation will be 65. I hope you are with me. Yeah. Minus 1 times standard deviation will be 45. 50 minus 5. Minus 2 times standard deviation will be 40. Minus 3 times standard deviation will be 35. Right? I hope my calculations are correct. Sometimes I can't add up properly. Do you agree with this? Or, yeah, just wanted to check. Are you getting it, what I did just now? And I can now make a statement as 99% of my recruitments are taking between 35 minutes to 65 minutes. 95%, 99% of my recruitments are taking between 35 minutes to 65 minutes. Okay. Right? Just say yes or no so that I can get an idea. If you want me to explain one more time, I can explain. Okay, 35 and 65. Right? Great. Okay, so some of you are saying I did not get it. Clayton said I got it. Okay, don't worry. One more example. A simple example. Okay, I collect my data, let's say. My traveling time data. Travel time. I'm traveling to my office every day, and okay, let me use my video. One of the videos. Let me use the video. Sometimes, just a minute. I'm choosing the video. New videos. And when you join my sessions, you get all the videos. These are all recorded videos. All the explanations are given.
Information. So if let us take a simple, you can make a control chart, you can display the data collected as the run charts, etc. To give you a little bit idea of what is control chart, let us take a simple example. Suppose I collect the data of my travel time from my home to office every day. And I find that on an average, I'm taking 30 minutes and standard deviation is 5 minutes.
Okay, so I collected the data. I got an average of 30 and standard deviation is 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I can calculate either using Excel sheet or the Minitab, the way I showed it to you. Can you tell me 99% of my travels will be within how much time? 99% of my travels will be within how much time? So again, if I apply the Gaussian theorem here I have average. Yeah. Here I have got that average. This is 1 time standard deviation, 2 times standard deviation, 3 times standard deviation. Minus 1 time standard deviation, minus 2 times standard deviation, and minus 3 times standard deviation. So average will be 30. What is 1 time plus 1 time standard deviation? 30 plus 1 times standard deviation. Standard deviation is 5, right? So this will be 35. What will be 2 times standard deviation? 40. And this will be 45. Minus 1 time will be 25, 20, and 30, 15. Okay. So this standard deviation is unique. You know that plus minus 3 times standard deviation can keep on varying. It depends on the process. It could be 2, it could be 200, it could be 2000. Average could be anything, 2 to 500, 17,000, 18,000, whatever. Average sales. Let's say if I want this to apply to a sales process, my average sales is $30,000. Average sales is now, this is all in $1,000, right? This is my daily sales. Collected data for say 20, 30 days. $30,000 is my sales and $5,000 is my standard deviation. So I can say that 99% of my time, my salespeople, my sales team is either getting daily sales varies between $15,000 to $45,000. Okay. This is true for all processes. If I want to apply this to chocolates, let us say my average chocolate weight is 300, actually, if I remember, 100 grams. Yeah, 100 grams. And standard deviation is, let's say, 1 gram. So it will be 100, 101, 102, and 103. It will be 99, 98, and 97. How? Because now average is 100 grams, standard deviation is 1. And again, the same thing, 1 sigma, 2 sigma, and 3 sigma. If you apply the same logic, yeah, you'll get these values. How we calculate the standard deviation, Amritpal? I just showed you using Excel sheet or Minitab. You can calculate. There's a formula also, but I want to give you the whole DMAC approach right now. If you are interested in knowing the formula, there is a link I have given. On the top, if you see, there's a link of standard deviation. Please store that link and you can watch that later on and you can get to know about how to calculate the standard deviation. But for the right now, for yellow belt, we don't go into that detail. Otherwise, explanation of standard deviation itself takes 15, 20 minutes. But I'm giving you the overview of the DMAC right now. But more importantly, now let us see what is the application. What is the application? Let us look at the application. So going back to my example of my traveling time, average is 30 minutes, standard deviation is 5 minutes. So we know how to calculate the standard deviation and how to calculate the average. Now, if I plot the data on a histogram, then lower control limit would be minus 3 sigma limits, that will be 15 minutes, and upper control limit would be 45 minutes, that is plus 3 times the standard deviation. Now, please remember, the minus 3 times standard deviation is known as lower control limit, and plus 3 times standard deviation is known as upper control limit. Remember, control limit, the CL, control limit. We call this as voice of process. We call this as voice of process. Means my process is behaving between 15 minutes to 45 minutes. Means my traveling process is telling me that I will take between 15 minutes to 45 minutes. Mr. Amitabh is going to take 15 minutes to 45 minutes. My process, my traveling process is telling you that. We call it as voice of process. Please understand, it is different from voice of customer. What was voice of customer? Do you remember? Specification limit. Specification limit is customer is telling you, you should behave between these particular limits. That is your voice of customer. Now we are talking about voice of process. Okay. One more example, let me give you. Let us take our chocolate example. Chocolate should be between 100 plus minus 3 grams. So lower specification limit is 97 grams and upper specification limit is 103 grams. Okay. Now this is what my customer wants. We call it as voice of customer, represented by SL, lower specification limit and upper specification. But then I have another voice. What is the other voice? The other voice is voice of process. My machines, the process of producing my chocolates, they're also telling me something. And when I collect the data, yeah, most of my chocolates are, let's say, 100 grams. Some are going up to 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. Do you think the customer is satisfied? Do you think the customer is satisfied? No. Here and here, there is defect. Okay. Now, how it will be represented? So let us say in such a process, I collected your 50 chocolates, took the weight, 100, 101, 102, 99, 98, 98, 100, 100, 100, 101.5. Let's say I collected lots of samples, average is 100 and standard deviation is 2. So I can predict, if I go the same logic, 1 time standard deviation will be 102. 2 times standard deviation will be 104. And 3 times standard deviation will be 106. Minus 1 times standard deviation will be 98. Then 96. And 94. 2, right? This is X bar, 1 time standard deviation, 2 times standard deviation, 3 times standard deviation, minus 1 time standard deviation, minus 2 times standard deviation, minus 3 times standard deviation. Standard deviation is how much? 2. So 100 plus 2, then 102 plus 2 is 104, and 104 plus 2 is 106. And this is how my process behaves. This we call it as lower control limit and upper control limit. Control limit is the voice of process. My machines are telling me, I am going to produce chocolates between 94 to 106. This is known as voice of process. Now, voice of process is wider than the voice of customer. Means control limits are wider than the specification limits. That means customer will be unhappy. What should I do? I should reduce the variation. Think of a process. Let's say if I reduce the variation, I can reduce the variation by clearly instructing the operators to follow the standard operating procedure, maintaining the set points of the machines, not producing a lot of variation. Raw material, when you are feeding the raw material for the chocolates, the milk, the sugar, etc., follow the standard operating procedures. And now they have started following the standard operating procedure, and now their chocolates having less variation, 99.7, 99.9, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100.2. So now my average is 100 and standard deviation reduced to 1. Now how my process will look like? Well, let us see that. My new process, my specification limits still remain the same. 97 to 103, which is voice of customer. But now my process is standard deviation is 1. So 1 time standard deviation will be 101, 102, and 103. This will be 99, this will be 98, and this will be 97. So my process is now something like this. It is producing very few defects, maybe 1% or even less than 1%. By reducing the variation in my process, I can reduce the defects. Earlier, I was producing a lot of defects. Yeah, I was producing a lot of defects here. Maybe 20% defective chocolates I was producing, overweight or underweight. Now I am producing less defects, maybe 0.5%. And how about if I reduce the standard deviation to further to 0.5? Let us say I strictly, I start strictly maintaining the machines, parameters, etc. What will happen then? Standard deviation is 0.5, 100, 100.5, somewhere is 100, 101, 101.5. Here it will be 99.5, 99 and 98 for 0.5. It will be something like this. Very rarely, there is no possibility, almost no possibility of producing any defects. Maybe 3 defects in 1 million chocolates means only 3 defective chocolates or overweight or underweight chocolates I will get in 1 million. Such process is known as 6 sigma process. So what happens whenever my defects reduce, my sigma level, I'm talking about level, sigma level increases. So when when I'm reducing my defects, reducing my variation, my sigma level improves, quality level improves. Higher the sigma level, better is my quality. Now this is, to understand this part, it takes little, say, we spend around 1.5 hours to explain this part to you. But just as a yellow belt, please try to understand that as I reduce my variation, it will reduce my defects also. Now, once I have reduced my defect, that's the whole idea, how to reduce the variation. It's not easy. I have to analyze what is causing my variation. So in the measure phase, we are not worried to solve the problem. We're just displaying how big is the problem, how many defects I'm producing. The measure phase, I will measure, I'll map the process, I'll identify the waste, and also I'll measure how many defects I'm producing. I can also do a control chart. Control chart would be like, if my control limits. So these were the control limits, lower control limit and upper control limit. Specification limits remain the same. They don't change, but the control limits can keep changing depending on how well I'm maintaining my process. If I improve my operations, it will reduce my control limits, reduce the variation. So my objective is to make my process in such a way that it reduces the control limits, brings it within the specification limit. And when my control limits are within the specification limits, my customers will be happy. Yes, so Amritpal, so you had asked that question, right? That standard deviation calculated. So I hope you got the, you can get to the link. I just wanted to talk about it. If you have any questions, you can also come on panel. In fact, all of us can come on panel, uh, if you don't mind. All of I can include some of you who would like to speak to, you can come inside the webinar and you can unmute yourself also in case you are interested in doing that. Okay, now let us look at. So what we are doing, if I go back to our example, so we collected the sample, we identify the now the how to analyze. So I'll just take you through this. I'll just take you through this. There are two ways of analyzing. One is process door and another is data door. Process door means you identify you make the process map, do a Gemba walk. Gemba walk means go to the field and see how the things are taking place and identify the non-value added activities. In data door, you make a cause and effect diagram and then Pareto chart and box plots. So in the process door, you are mapping the process, identifying the waste, what is value added, what is non-value added, and reduce the non-value added activities as much as possible. And in the data door, you get the people together, and get your cause and effect diagram. Cause and effect diagram, also known as fishbone diagram. You brainstorm on all the possible ways of what could be causing the problem. That is known as cause and effect diagram. So people are brainstorming on all the possible causes of high recruitment time, and they have listed down uh, using man, machine, material, method, also known as 6M techniques. Man, machine, material, method, a measurement, and mother nature. So if you brainstorm on these 6 categories, you will get almost all the possible causes of this particular issues. So they have done that, and then you can vote which one you feel is the biggest issue. So once you vote on that, you arrange them in descending order. So they have organized the votes in the descending order, highest on the top and lowest at the bottom. Typically, you will find that 80% of your problems are due to 20% of your issues. This is also known as Pareto analysis. Pareto chart. Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist who found that 80% of the wealth in Italy was with 20% of the people. And he called this as 80-20 rule. So Joseph Juran applied this to quality, and he said, 80% of your problems, whatever 80% of your problems you are trying to solve, recruitment cycle time is high, 80% of the delays are due to 20% of your causes. Not each cause is equally responsible for your problems. So which are those 20% of the causes? Let's suppose you have listed 10 causes. Only 2 of them are responsible for 80% of your issues. So which are those 2? So you will choose those top 20% of your total causes. So here they have chosen, they came out with around 20 causes. And out of these 20 causes, 20% of 20 is 4. So they chose the top 4. And if you see, those top 4 are contributing to the 80% of the delays. Let me show you in Minitab as well. So when I'm brainstorming, I can brainstorm using man, machine, material. What could be the man-related causes? Lack of responsibility, lack of competent people, etc. So what is machine? Software is not working, IT system is down, job description not available in material. So I can quickly, now these are again uh, very much possible, just clicking the right buttons, which you can learn in green belt session. You can make a cause and effect diagram. And also then you collect the data, which cause is occurring most of the time. So what was the reason for the first delayed recruitment? Well, approval time was delayed. Job description was not available for the second one. Third, it was a special type of hiring. So these were the reasons. Now, which reason is appearing most of the time? I can ask Minitab to do a Pareto. Can you please tell me which reason is occurring most of the time? And I'll ask Minitab to do a Pareto. And it will tell you, well, I counted and I found that assessment time was biggest occurring cause in my delayed recruitments. It appeared 13 times. Job description not available appeared 9 times. And approval time appeared 6 times. And the total contribution of the first one, assessment time, was 34% out of the total causes. The second, job description not available, is 23%. So if I combine the two together, both assessment time and job description not available are contributing around 57% of the total delays. And if I include two more, I get 80% of my recruitment's delays I can attribute to these 4 causes: assessment time, job description not available, approval time, and types of hiring. Well, now if I just attack those 4 causes, I can easily solve the problem. And that's what they did. So they chose those problems. They identified uh, uh, in fact, before, because I know we have almost finished the session, but please hold on for 15 more minutes. I'll take you through the full DMAC. But those who are in a hurry, and some people are asking how to attend our Greenbelt training. So just to tell you that you can attend my Greenbelt training, interactive live training, and a recording available for lifetime. And we also do 2 projects in the class, the way I'm doing right now. Right now, you are not participating with me because it's a yellow belt session. I'm just describing, I'm just telling you. But when you are in the green belt program, I give you the mini tab, I give you the data, and you all of us together do this analysis. And then once we, right now we were at the, we identified some of the causes. So now we are brainstorming on the solution. We will brainstorm on some solutions, how to solve the problem. These are my top causes. How to solve, what could be the ideas? So you can generate your ideas using 635 sessions. You can use anti-solution techniques. So all these techniques we teach you in green belt and black belts. And then once you apply, once you generate the ideas, actually you apply, you implement those ideas. That's what the team did. They implemented those ideas. And once they implemented the ideas, not enough. You have to sustain the gains. They actually reduce the recruitment cycle time to 30 days, 50 days average reduced to 30 days. But that's not enough. You have to actually sustain the gain. 3 months, 5 months, 6 months down the line, you should be able to maintain that. So you have to do something else. So you have to put up systems in place. You have to have a new SOPs. You have to have new audit sheets, review sheets, etc. And once you do that, you can show that earlier, when before the project, my recruitments were taking between say 35 days to 65 days. These were my control limits. Right? This is, if you remember, this was my control limits: 50, 35 to 65. 50 was my average. This was now my control limits have changed. My average is now 25 days, and the standard deviation is approximately, let's say, I think 25, so 33. So it has reduced. So earlier, 25, approximately 4, I think. Now standard deviation is to 4 also, and average is also reduced to 25. So my process is now varying between 16 days to 33 days. So I can say for sure that improvement has taken place. So this is known as statistically validated improvement. And that is what you do in DMAC. Now, we did not learn a lot of tools in Greenbelt. We learned like FMEA, failure modes and effects analysis, means how to make my process failure proof, how to prevent the failure of my system, how to prevent the failure of my process, how to prevent the failure of my defects, how to not produce defects. So these are different tools and techniques which you already you'll be able to learn. FMEA, if you are interested, you can watch this FMEA YouTube video. It has been watched by more than 1 million people. If I want to show you.
A very powerful tool called failure modes and effects analysis.
So the link is given.
This tool, FMEA, was first used by NASA to send the people on the moon. And they did not want to fail, and that is why they.
So 1.3 people, 3 million people have viewed this, right? 1.3 million people have viewed this video. So very, very powerful technique, FMEA, failure modes and effects analysis. Please watch that. I have given you the link here. You can also a brainstorming technique, 635 technique is also given here. You can watch that also. So these are all your free resources and you can always utilize them. In fact, FMEA is a standalone tool. You can use FMEA to improve your process immediately. Next week itself, it will take around 2 hours to do an FMEA of any process. And you can suggest great improvements just 2 to 3 hours. And it can do wonders for you. So good. That is what is about a lot of tools and techniques. I know that the whole idea was to give you the brief overview of what Lean Six Sigma is. Within 2 hours, I can't cover all the green belt tools. Because as a yellow belt, you should be aware of the tools and techniques. It's not like you have to actually learn each tool and technique. But I hope you got some idea. If you have any questions, please let me know. And also those who are interested in joining my sessions, my team can give the details, if you can give the details. In fact, depending on which country you are from and depending on which country we are getting the most of the candidates, I can tailor make my timing also accordingly. So these are some of the batches, ongoing batches, which we have planned, and we can also schedule a batch suited to your country's timing as well. So we have got a weekend batch, Fridays or Saturdays, or sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. You can choose any one of them. Saturdays batch is also there, Sunday only batch is there. Then morning batches are there, like this time, every day, 2 hours, I conduct a session. One batch is evening batch. This is for some of you, it is an evening batch. And for some of you, it will be morning batch. So I can use that. For Australians, I can do it at a different timing, or Saturday, Sunday appears to be the best. And for other geographies, I think for US, etc., we can also change our times. Yeah, so these are some of the things, and the discounted fee, we have got a discounted fee. If you're attending today, if you're registering today or tomorrow or as soon as possible, you'll be getting further discounts on the discounted fee as well. And also, you have got combos, like if you want to do green and black belt together. So then in that case, you can do both green and black belt together in $1,000 also. So that's a very, very heavy discount, which we are offering for this foundation month. and you can always attend those sessions. So any questions you have, please, you can ask me now. And those who would like to come on those who would like to unmute themselves or come on the screen also, I'm okay. Just raise your hands. So Amritpal, you have raised your hand. Would you like to, yeah. So what you would like to ask? You have raised your hand, so would you like to ask some questions? Or would you like to speak? Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, Amritpal. Amritpal is trying to speak, but I can't hear. Is he there in the panelists? Can you please uh, allow him? Just a minute. Amritpal, just give me a second. I will put you in the panel. Just give me 1 minute. Uh, can you invite Amritpal as a
We have invited, he has to accept it.
yeah?
Well, can you please accept as a panelist since we are not able to
Amritpal,
hear
we have
you?
sent you a request to join as a panelist, so you have to accept the request. Yeah, I think he has joined. Yes, please, Amritpal. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, I was talking about that question at that time. I like to how we can calculate the standard deviation.
Ah, okay, that
So
time.
I raised the hand, but you explained it very well. Yeah. Otherwise, there is no any question right now.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. I hope you
Yeah.
learned something.
Yeah. No, I learned so many things. So this was a great opportunity, and you explained so very well. And it was easy to understand as you explain like the things from the beginning, and that I wasn't know anything, so that's why I attend the lecture with you, so that I come to know few things. Basically, I want to go in the aerospace industry, where I'm applying. So I did aerospace from India, in like a bachelor degree. Then I came here in Canada. I did diploma in mechanical designing, and then we have to get the permanent resident over here. So there's a lot of struggle for that. You know about everything, how we have to get up to that level. Then now I'm okay. So, but I'm applying like right now. The situation is so hard, and they demand so many things, and there is a huge competition. So we need to get more and more knowledge, and also need to revise so many things.
Great, great. And yeah, Dhananjay, you are from Vadodara, so we will be like my team will get in touch with you. We have got running batches for Indian timings as well. So if you can get in touch with. Okay. Yeah, Subramaniam is asking how Six Sigma can help in career growth as infra project manager. So infra project manager, the delays in the projects can be reduced. The errors and the compliance issues also can be reduced. So number of non-compliances you can reduce. Then, sorry, I'm looking at the another camera, this one here. So the compliances can be, non-compliances can be reduced. Anything. See, whatever your customer is unhappy about, you measure it, and whatever the customer is unhappy about, you can improve that part. And when you are improving, your career becomes better. So you don't have to leave your job to become a full-time black belt. See, the tools and techniques which you get as a green belt and black belt will make you the things make you do the things in a better way. The whole idea is to improve your work performance. And when your work performance increases, improves, naturally your boss is happy and you'll get the raise. So that is one. Apart from that, there is one market condition that when you are a black belt, your value is very, very much. So as an engineer, uh, you have a value, but there are two people in front of me. One is a black belt and one is a only an engineer plus black belt will always be preferred. That's what I have to say. And most of the time, you will find that people who are, uh, you know, equipped with this knowledge of Lean Six Sigma tools and techniques, they are able to do a better job. So their performance is improved. So they don't have to actually seek promotion. Promotion seeks them. And second part is some of the jobs nowadays, they have got a criteria that you should be a minimum green belt. Many processes they have, even the operations jobs, they have on even projects jobs, you should be a Six Sigma and PMP. PMP also we conduct. By the way, I conduct PMP session also. I have a free PMP 2 hours program also. Foundation of PMI, PMP training foundation, free training I do for those who are interested in PMP certification. So even PMP certification will help you. So PMP plus Six Sigma is a, I would say, lethal combination. So it's very difficult to turn down a candidate so easily when you are applying for the job. So these will improve your job prospects, these certifications. And when you say that you have actually done the project, when we do the green belt session, you can, we give you the real data as if you are doing a real project. So you can feel that you are actually doing the project. And when you are appearing for an interview, you can say, I'm an infra project manager. And along with that, I also know these tools and techniques to solve the problem. I know cause and effect diagram, Pareto analysis. I know 635 technique, FMEA, failure modes and effects analysis. I know SIPOC. SIPOC, and anyway, you have learned. So I know SIPOC, how to have the systems thinking. So anyone can make out that you have a better approach than others whenever you are facing the problems. And definitely it will have some additional points in favor of you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, being financial analyst, how it this course helped me to develop in my career?
Yeah. So being a financial analyst, actually, I have worked in Deutsche Bank, Riyadh Bank, and then consulted for Bank Muscat, National Bank of Oman. And all these banks, we had financial analysts also, investment banking, in fact. So financial analyst, again, your times can reduce, your whatever work assignments are given to you. Whatever
Okay.
work assignments are given to you, if you are taking 2 hours, you can reduce to 1 hour. Or your team's assignments, like if you got 20 members in a team and they're processing 10 jobs every day, 10 hours reduced, 10 jobs per day, every day, 10 hours you are saving, multiplied by 10 people. So 100 hours every day you are saving. So
Okay.
that will reduce your costs, improve the productivity, errors will be reduced.
Okay.
So
Because
suppose,
being financial analyst, I never worked with a bank, but I work with the, as of now, I'm with the IT industry. Earlier, I was in the manufacturing industry.
okay. So
So that's why. So how can I choose that which belt I will go for it?
yeah, you should go for, see, green belt is normal. That's like
Okay.
so like you don't have to even think about it. In green,
Okay.
get to know that how much you are able to absorb means if it's like very, you understood each and everything, which you would, of course, I'm sure about it, then you can upgrade yourself as a black belt also. But
Okay.
suppose in the green belt, you see, I think these tools are not something which will help me. You will realize that, well, I don't know, I will be able to improve my process, or that is not my area, let's say.
Okay.
If you realize that, then no need for black belt. But if you see, this is interesting, I can improve a process, and not only as a financial analysis, you become a black belt to the world. You are able to improve any process. It could be a manufacturing company also, it could be healthcare also. So if you are interested, if that green belt interests you, you should go for black belt. But there's a combination. See, mostly our I've never seen anyone dropping out after green belt. So generally
Okay.
they go for green and black combination because you save money. It will be almost the same thing. If you go for green and black, and if you go just for green, I think not much difference is there. But if you go for a green and black belt, you get also a lot of other things which are part of your, like Excel training. Also, you get free. We have got other trainings. We have got Power BI training, which also you get for free. So
Okay.
freebies come if you are taking the combination.
Okay. So is there any curriculum or any brochure of that bill so I can go through it and then after that I can decide about it?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you, it's
yeah. We'll be happy to give it to you. You can go to our website also. So it
okay.
contains all the tools and techniques which we discussed, but we will send it to you separately.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Agenda or something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my team can just send it to you. Send it.
Sure. Sure. Thanks.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yes, Dhananjay.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, sir. I am in the manufacturing sector in active pharmaceutical ingredient manufacturing. So there is a process of micronization. We perform micronization to reduce the particle size. So we are facing too much problem in achieving the particle size. We have three parameters of D10, D90. That means diameter 10, diameter 90, and diameter 50. And we have the what we can say RPM, and with the help of RPM and pressure we have to achieve the particle size. But we are consistently working and unable to achieve the particle size. So what you will suggest, sir?
Yeah, so pressure, temperature, these are all X factors. The
No, sir.
particle size is
Only the process is performed only with the help of pressure and running per minute of organ.
yeah. So running per minute and your pressure, they are your X factors. Okay. Plus, along with the skills of your operators, that is your X factors, which is affecting your Y. Y is your output, which is particle size. Right? And particle size got some specification limits. It should be within some limits, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is your specification limit. Now, no, your particles are not listening to you, means your voice of process is widened. They are out of the limits, right?
Yes, sir.
If I depict this in your diagram, and please do watch the FMEA, okay, everyone. 1.5,
Yes, sir.
some additional more views I'll get. But more importantly, anyway, I'm just more importantly, you should get the learning is more important. I was just joking. Already 1.3 million is good enough for us. But yeah, but it is the most watched video, by the way, in process excellence in today, in the whole world. We are proud of it and proud of my team as well. They've made me look like someone who's done something nice. Okay, so you have particle sizes. Okay, can you tell me what are your particle sizes?
D10 required is less than 90,
Less than 9.
and D50 is 100 to 200.
You should not go beyond 100. 100 and
Okay, sir.
100,
Let me go to the only one parameter, D50, 100 to 200.
100 to 200 should be the parameter, right?
Yes, yes, yes. In between particle size should be.
Okay. Now, for you, it is more or less, or it's like less and more both.
No, sir, in between.
No, no. What you are producing today? You are producing like this, or you are producing like this, or you are producing like let me.
Yes, sir.
So this is A, this is B, this is C. You are A, B, or C?
Sir, the particle size is going more than 200, sir.
More than 200. So
Yes.
your problem is this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The problem is that you are going more than, see, now how statistics can, and this is from different industry, I applied the same principle. Whatever I taught for chocolate or a hospital. Now, what we will do is you have to do a cause and effect diagram. What is affecting your particle size? What is, there could be many things, man, machine, material, think about more things. Go beyond pressure. So man, material, method comes pressure. So you are just blaming the pressure. Maybe pressure is not the problem, or it is the problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So pressure, then what was the else thing? Speed, right? Speed, skills, maybe shift. Are these problems happening in only one shift or every shift?
Sir, every shift.
Every shift.
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, in Six
It
Sigma,
is
we don't trust
it is
anyone.
a general type of problem, sir.
No, we don't trust anyone in Six Sigma. We trust only data. So what I will do, I'll collect. How many shifts you have got?
3 shift.
So shift 1.
Round the clock, yes.
Morning, evening, and night shifts. Okay. And I'll say particle size. Morning, now you are telling me it is varying every time, but it may happen when I collect the data, and I'll ask you to collect the data. Morning, evening, and night. This is the variation. Evening, this is the variation. This is the size, okay? And what I am representing, see, as a green belt, you will understand all these things more, but yeah, I hope you got the point, right? This is your normal distribution. This is the performance. I will say some problem in the evening shift. But as per you, you are telling the problem is like in every shift. That's what you are saying, and I'll trust you. But I don't know whether you have collected the data or not. You have to collect the data. And when you collect the data and when you plot the graph, I did not cover all these charts and graphs today, but as a green belt and a black belt, you'll come to know all these things. And then you'll say, well, shift is a problem or shift is not. Then you say pressure. More pressure, and this is the size. You'll say, if I increase the pressure, size increases, and after some time, it will further increase, it will reduces. Okay. I have to find, did you do this? This is one scatter plot. Did you do this experiment?
No, sir. I haven't done.
Yes, please do this. You'll get to know, oh, this pressure, I have got the best size. This range I want, or maybe at this range. I want below 200, right? After a certain pressure, it is going beyond. So you'll get the pressure setting. So focus on pressure settings, get the right pressure, and this problem will get solved. And all these coming from black belt knowledge. I've never visited your company, but I'm giving you solutions. This is how a green belt or black belt is capable of.
Sir, so we have to apply parameters one by one. That means one time we have to go with RPM, and on other times we have to go with the pressures.
Pressure, RPN, yes, RPN. Increase the RPN slowly and slowly, see. And when you increase, you wait for some time for the whole shift, and don't experiment with too big parameters. Change RPM speed should be within that specified range. Look for this at this RPM, what is the size? And then sometimes you can experiment. You learn design of experiment in black belt. You can experiment with both together and get the best combination where you'll get the particle size easily.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I am already in the job and I have 11 years of experience. Now I want to, work for freelancing to earn side income. So by
So
going
you have to
through,
become a master black belt for that.
okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
That's a master black belt. You don't have to work anywhere. You can consult the companies directly. And Gujarat, a lot of companies are there. I can tell you.
Yes, sir. Too much, sir.
Yeah. Enter into one company, they will give you a break. Don't have to search.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, any other? Tilak, Subramanian is already asked, Ruchindra, Olatone, Munir Radze, Engineer Kwama, Ingenoyer Kwama, right? Ikechuku Mualu, okay. Gold, Ashik. I hope I have answered everyone's question. So if there are no more questions, then we can wind